You know, uh, there's a case, another case of police fear tactics of their coming into our neighborhoods and killing. The case that I'm sure you're aware of is Sonia Massey, and it's all over the internet, all over the news, and I'm sure as that all of you in the black community have reached a point, and we may have reached it hundreds and hundreds of years ago, because that's how long it's been going on. Whereas you come to the point, you have to realize that this is enabled. The federal government, the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, and all the arms of justice and law enforcement in the United States of America, or they're soliciting, they're complicit in it. I mean, excuse me, they're part of it. We're ever mindful each day in our communities of slavery. We're ever mindful of the terrors of it, and it happens year after year, that they instill in us terror and fear. The federal government, they allows it because it protects the status quo. It protects the fear and the power of white supremacy. That's what they're doing. When these officers, and Trump's wants to give them with his Project 2025 plan, he wants to give them immunity from prosecution. Now, they already have indemnity, meaning that they're far from being prosecuted now, and that if they are, that any lawsuits, then the money comes from the taxpayers. It doesn't come from or funds, but it doesn't come out their pocket. So they have a type of indemnity or immunity already. But what they're doing psychologically to us in the black community. And if you notice, all the rest of the world, just like they did with slavery, peeked through the curtains. When they got these our young black men on the ground and killing them and putting their knee on their neck and putting them in chokeholds, the Chinese looking out the curtain, looking through the window. The Japanese, they looking through the curtain, looking through the window. That's the same thing that was done with slavery. They knew what was being done to us. And like how they peek through the curtains now. Or they pass by and look at us and lock their doors. The Irish, the British, the Indians, they all, get to kick you in the butt or whatever, because they see that you're being bullied. We've been being bullied by Europeans. It's a fact. I mean, you can say how tough we are as a race, and we're being bullied by these people, and we're being bullied with the idea and the concept that they will kill us. That's what they're showing us. We will kill you if you're not obedient and if you don't stand in this oppression. The thing about it, you can't look back far enough that it wasn't happening. But slavery isn't in the past. It's so ever present now, because just look at recently. Look at the list recently. July 17, 2014. Eric Garner killed by law enforcement, killed by white police officers. August 9th, 2014. Michael Brown was killed by white police officers. November 22nd, 2014, Tamir Rice was killed by white police officers. April 4th, 2015, Walter Scott was killed. He was murdered by white officers, white law enforcement agencies. July 5th, 2016. This modern day times. This is the same thing as them riding on them horses with the white sheets on, coming into our neighborhood and terrorizing us to instill fear in us. July 5th, 2016, Alton Sterling, killed by white officers. so-called law enforcement. July 6, 2016, Philando Castile, murdered, killed by white officers. March 8, 2018, Stephon Clark, murdered, killed by white officers. March 13, 2020, Breonna Taylor, a very famous case that was worldwide. Breonna Taylor, famous lawyer, Alton Maddox, caught hell with that case. I believe he went through his career, his law license, dealing with this Breonna Taylor case. Alton Maddox, the famous lawyer and educator. May 25th, 2020, George Floyd. Of course, we all know that case. Murdered, killed. Breonna Taylor was murdered and killed. Came in her house and white officers and killed her. George Floyd, famous case. Murdered and killed by police officers. This has been going on and on. This is a fear tactic by the federal government. And the arm they use is these white skinhead type police officers on the streets with a license to kill. April 11, 2021. This 2024. This ain't when they talking about Emmett Till. This happening right now in the years that we're living. Dante Wright was murdered and killed by police officers. And I know everyone knows. In 2012, February 26, George Zimmerman, a security guard, a Hispanic security guard, killed that young boy. Boy, they went and bought him a soda and some Skittles. But they want to instill fear. They want us to be obedient to white supremacy. So they use these officers, they still are the Klansmen. They still are posses that are riding in our neighborhoods and killing unarmed people, killing innocent people, killing innocent. And in all wars, listen to me, even with that Israel and Palestinian war, even with the, you go back to the Geneva Convention and the laws that established with war, how could they on July 6, 2024 go and kill Sonia Massey? Women and children, man. Women and children. It's against all laws of war. If you are at war with us, you're trying to steal anything, but you keep your hands off the women and children. This police officer, Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old African-American woman, she was shot and killed in her home by a white deputy by the name of Sean Grayson. That man right there, Sean Grayson, he held 6 different police jobs in the past 4 years. They kept kicking him. He kept getting fired and kicked off the police department. What happened to human resources? What happened to looking into what do they call it when they checking your record? How could they put him on a police force? And she was killed by an officer named Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old African American woman. She was shot and killed in her home by this white deputy that I speak of, Sean Grayson, of the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office in Westside Township near Springfield, Illinois. Up there in Illinois. Massey, the lady, had a place, she called the police, a 911 call in reference to a possible prowler on her property. The lady just called and said she heard something outside. Somebody messing around my property. How could she call somebody dealing, just look, man, I'm just calling y'all, it's supposed to be protectors of this law of citizens, civilian protectors. They come there, and the man shot her in the head. The autopsy report did not state the manner of death. Sangamon County Coroner Joe Ullman confirmed it was homicide. That man, the coroner, he said he couldn't go against the police department and state it, but he confirmed it was a homicide. And the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. And the manner of death was homicide. You can go back. I could have went back to the 60s and just I could have kept reading. I could have went back to the 1950s and all through the 50s that day. I could have kept reading of these persecutions or crucifixions or police executions, however you want to term them. And I could have went to the 40s, the 30s,
we could have came to the 20s in the Jim Crow era, and then we would have got to hangings. We'd have stopped talking about hangings, and we'd have kept on going back from the 1920s to the 1890s, 1870s, and I could keep reading off list after list after list. In fact, we could go on back through slavery. Now that's 300 years, all the way back to the 1600s, with lynchings and burnings. And so the question is, how much longer are we going to continue to run to the church and say forgiveness? This young lady, Sonia Massey's son, should have never been allowed. I don't know what that lawyer, Crump, it continuously allows these children to get on the news the next day after their parents have been murdered, and to speak in a solemn manner, and to describe the incident with braveness and courage. I remember when Dylan Roof killed those black people in the church, and the children went on the news the next day saying that they forgive. We as black people, listen, we don't understand the law of forgiveness. We don't know how it operates. It was given to us by Europeans to make us tranquil and to make us not seek revenge. The universe does not deal with the law of forgiveness. The Old Testament doesn't deal with the law of forgiveness. The law of forgiveness is not a universal law. The universal laws, the law of relativity, the law of gender, the law of cause and effect, the law of polarity, the law of vibration. None of those laws, except of them, has the law of forgiveness. But the law of cause and effect says that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. And this is why Malcolm X said, if you want to truly communicate with the people, you got to speak their language. If they're speaking Dutch, then you speak Dutch. And if they're speaking French, then you speak French. And if he goes and get a rope, then you get a rope. And if he gets a gun, well, then you get a gun. He said, but you'll never truly communicate with these people walking around talking that chicken talk, non-violent, toe-tapping, shoe-shine boy. We shall overcome bullcrap, marching down the street with forgiveness in your heart, and that man's got a gun in your head. He said that you and him will never understand each other because you're not speaking his language. If that young boy, her son, Sonia Massey's son, would have been on the news the next day and they'd asked him why did he do what he did, he could have said that the language that that man spoke to me, my mother, well, I went to his house and to communicate with him. I went to his house in the same language that he spoke to my mother, I spoke to his mother, and I spoke to his sister, and I spoke to his cousin. I went there and spoke the same language that he was speaking to my mother. And I thought that maybe we'd get a better understanding. We as black people, we got to understand what Jesus meant when he went to the Pharisees on the Sabbath day. And he showed them, he said that if it's an emergency, if it has to deal with life, he said then that law must be broken. The law was made, the law of justice, and the courtrooms were made so that we would not be in chaos, so that we would not fight one another, so that we would come to a place and justice would be served. But if we can go back hundreds and hundreds of years of these people murdering and hanging and shooting us, then it shows that these people are committing serial killings. These are serial murders that have been going on for hundreds of years. So then the law is not protecting us. It is not. And so the language that they're speaking to us, my question is, when are we going to stop back speaking the language to them? Because if justice doesn't protect you, if the laws don't, Jesus said, then break them laws. He said, if an ambulance going down the street to protect the life, to save that life, break the stop sign, go through the red light, break that law. That's what he meant in Luke. If an ox is in a ditch on the Sabbath day, you got to work, do field work tomorrow, then you must break the Sabbath law because you were not made for the law. It was made for you. It was put in place so that we would have peace. But if they're not protecting us, if the laws of this country, the United States of America, are not being enforced to protect us African Americans, then we must protect ourselves. Then we must take the law into our own hands, because it's clear to us now, 400 years of killings and lynchings. It should be plain and clear that this government has no inclination of protecting us from its own kind. It does not have that in it. And so my words on that, I'll leave you with Malcolm's words. If you want to communicate with the people, you got to speak their language. Stop allowing these kids to get up and speak the language of forgiveness. The language of forgiveness is not a universal law. The Old Testament says an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. The universe says for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. You slap me, I'm going to slap you back. That's what the universe says. There's an equal and opposite reaction. It does not say anything about forgiveness. That is a law that they gave to us. And they weaved it through our community through Christ that we love. If Christ had used forgiveness so much, then why did he turn the table over in the temple? Why didn't he forgive them? When the rich man came to him and said, how can I get into heaven? What can I do? He didn't say, well, I'll forgive you. He told him, man, you couldn't get in there. It'd be easy for a camel to go through an eye. He didn't forgive him. He said, you can't do it. You can't get in there. He did not use forgiveness. And so that's what I want to say about Simon Meskin. God bless his soul. But if someone comes and kills your mother, the woman that brought you into this world, and you go downtown and the same group of people, the same people and the same kind decide that they're going to time after time after time give immunity to these police officers who has records of violence and going from department to department, they're going to allow this behavior. And like I said, don't let this turn get on the news and talk about what they forgive. Teach them how to communicate with these people. Teach them how to properly communicate with someone when they kill someone in your family. And that's all I got to say about it. Thank you and have a pleasant Sunday. God bless.
You know, lastly, I'll say in the aftermath of Sonia Massey's horrific death and execution by this officer at the hands of just hate and violence and murderous country, I asked the question, when is one of these civil rights lawyers or any of these agencies like the NAACP or whoever, but when is one of these civil rights lawyers who takes these cases, when is he going to pursue the crimes that are being done to us African Americans, us black people? When they're going to pursue a case in a class action lawsuit prepared and filed in the World Code to be read at the United Nations? When? Instead of pursuing some lawsuit, which you could go ahead and pursue the money and the silver for that family. But these posses and these Klansmen that are dressed in these police suits, listen, you can go back all the way to 1619 when he started, and I'm telling you, I did it. And I'm saying each 100 years, this has never stopped. This terrorism that they're bringing into our community, it hasn't stopped. And so we should be able to, when is a compilation of charges? That's what I mean. Against the Department of Justice, against the FBI, the CIA, against the Department of Defense, and be to the point against the entire justice and federal, against the entire justice system of America, the federal, state, and local systems. When is it going to be filed in an affidavit against the United States for continued terrorist, cruel and unusual and discriminatory practices against African Americans? It needs to be filed. You look at the president of the Philippines, you see, Google it right now today. He's telling you, y'all over there worrying and talking about us, y'all over there killing black people in the streets. That's what he said. He protesting it. Everybody around the world knows what's going on. It's enough of this stuff. They trying to instill fear in us, and these fools don't let these Indians and Chinese rise up and rise above us. You so worried about killing and keeping black people here down in America, terrorizing us, you forgot to go study your books. This generation of white people, they forgot to go study. They forgot to get into them computers. And them damn Indians, if they reverse engineer computers, they take them apart in their backyard. And now they have taken over the technology age. White people control the space age, the computer age, the industrial revolution. But they have made a bad mistake. They so busy putting their foot on our necks and over here killing and shooting us in the head that they don't let some other melanated people, they don't let them Indians and the Chinese rise above their white supremacy. So you're sitting here worrying about us and killing us. You don't let a whole nother group of people, that them people about to become first class, first world powers. But back to the point, this is about Sonya Massey. God bless her. And this should show us, we black people should have had enough. We come to this planet from the heavens to enjoy it like all other people. We ain't come here for somebody to be bullying on us. Bullying now in schools, it's zero tolerance. They'll kick you out because they know the psychological damage that's done by people terrorizing and bullying people. And they know that's why they can continue to do it each year after year. They're coming to our neighborhoods and kill us because they're trying to instill fear in us and keep us in a place of downtrodden and keep their white superiority, keep the fire burning. But that shit over with. Thank y'all for listening. Have a good Sunday and God bless you.